Hello, I'm Courtney Prosser, transformational mentor, and welcome to the Diamond Code podcast, the place where you learn to transform struggle into success, fear into fulfillment, and dirt into diamonds. Hello, I'm Courtney Prosser, and welcome to the 5th episode of the Diamond Code podcast. And today we're going to talk about how to master your anger, how to use anger in a really powerful way because it's a messenger, and how to stop letting it be disruptive in our lives. So to start off, I've got a question for you. How often at the moment in your life are you getting stuck in feeling grumpy, frustrated, or angry? How often is that coming up for you? Because, and be really honest with yourself, how often throughout the day are you getting stuck in these cycles of just being frustrated with people? How often are you having these scenarios in your head where you're playing out these angry conversations with people? Because if it's happening a lot, which it was in my life and has done throughout a lot of my life, then it's an indicator that your boundaries need some work. Not that people around you have been particularly mean and it's all their fault. It's about taking full responsibility for our life and for what we're attracting into our world and setting the appropriate boundaries that anger is being the messenger to try and get us to put in place. So I want to dive into anger and its more primal use, and then talk about how it's used very much as a messenger today and how we can master it, because it's something that can be very destructive in our lives and stand right in the way of us being able to really go for the success and let ourselves receive the success and the fulfillment that we want to create in our lives. So anger, when you look at it from a primal level, when you look at animals and when they get angry, it's a form of self-protection. So it goes right back to very primal times where our lives are being threatened. So when we're fighting for our life, we will show anger to try and scare people off and to get them to back off away from us. So it's a safety mechanism to protect us when we feel in danger, we feel under threat. So similar to the fight or flight response that happens within stress, anger is just within that whole family under the fear umbrella that is just alerting us that we are in a situation where our mind and our body is telling us that we don't feel safe. And we'll usually then project that out onto the other person. So let's face it, today, a lot of the situations that are happening in our world, we're not particularly under threat. Our lives aren't threatened. If they are, then put on that scary, angry face and do what you need to do to keep yourself safe. It's a natural response that we have to use in danger to get people to stay back. But mostly in our day-to-day lives in the modern world, it's just that people are overstepping our boundaries. They're saying things that may have upset us. They're doing things that have upset us, that make us feel threatened. So as an example, when I was in the exhausted phase of motherhood, I was not setting really good boundaries on my energy, especially my energy and the time that I was spending. And I wasn't effectively fueling my body. I wasn't stating my needs very well, partly because I was exhausted and sleep deprived. But it was a time where lots of anger came up for me because I wasn't setting boundaries and I wasn't standing in my power because I was just too exhausted to. But it really revealed to me how much anger, A, was inside of me, but also, too, how much I would use anger to feel powerful. So in my day-to-day life, I was getting angry and grumpy at the kids because they needed so much. I was getting angry and grumpy at my partner because it felt like I was doing so much more, although he was working his butt off too. But it was really all just a big reflection that I wasn't setting clear boundaries in my life. I wasn't accessing my own power. I wasn't plugged into source. I wasn't letting people know what I needed. I wasn't, saying that's enough when I was completely exhausted and going and filling my cup up before I gave more. And anger was just the messenger to tell me, hey, Courtney, you're exhausted and you need to put all of these things in place. You need to go and fill your own cup. You need to tell people exactly what you need rather than just express that anger everywhere, which is quite destructive towards my kids and towards my relationship with my partner. So anger in itself is really powerful and it's really useful to show us that we are out of integrity within ourselves, that we haven't set boundaries within relationships, we haven't expressed our needs, and we're not plugged into our true power. So one thing that I've noticed, because there was a lot of anger in my household growing up, and I've noticed that, I think whatever you express to a kid, they actually think that that's love. So some really damaged kids out there can often think that violence and really, high levels of criticism and really destructive behaviour, they think that that's love on some level because it's what they got from their caregivers. Well, I grew up thinking that expressing anger was part of love, which couldn't be further from the truth. If we're completely plugged into love, then we're not going to be experiencing anger. So anger is really just an indicator that we've closed off to love in the moment. Love and anger can't exist at the same time. It's one or the other. And this is a really powerful lesson that I've learned through motherhood, is that anger was the messenger that I needed to plug back into my source to love myself enough to give myself what I needed, to set boundaries on behavior that was or wasn't okay, and to state my needs. So when we relate that to our mission and our goals and our dreams and the success that we want to create in our lives, if we're not fully plugged into our true power, if we're not taking 100% responsibility, if we're not fueling our bodies to be these superpowers of energy and productivity, if we're not setting boundaries with people, if we're not setting boundaries on our energy and our time and the kind of treatment that is okay and not okay that we will accept in our lives, if we're not loving ourselves to a level where it shows in our words and our actions, then often what we'll do to feel powerful is to use anger. Anger very much is an energy that's quick and short and sharp. So anger gives us a quick burst of energy, but it's not this unlimited, sustainable energy that never runs out. That's the kind of energy that we want to fuel our mission on. So there's a lot of people out there that their mission is fueled by the fact that they're angry about something that's happening in the world. And I personally don't believe that it's an effective way or an effective place to fuel your mission from. It's like trying to fight love with anger. It's futile. If we can fuel our mission from the very deepest part of who we are, from connecting to source, from leading with love, not anger, then our missions will be so much more powerful, will be so much more successful, and we'll be filled with fulfillment. there was a time back in my early 20s when I was vegan, and I'm still mostly vegetarian, but vegan, I was very passionate about animal rights, and I went on a duck rescue when duck season opened, and one of the guys that was one of the forerunners of trying to end this duck hunting season, he was so passionate, I thought, but he was actually really angry. He was really angry at the hunters. How dare they just shoot these beautiful birds from the sky? And I completely agreed with that. But over the years of their protesting, the hunting season was getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And one morning we showed up at this really popular lake about a week after the hunting season had opened. And our role was just to get out there into the water early before the sun rose and to get all the ducks out and off so that they weren't there when the hunters wanted to shoot. Because usually what happens is as the sun rises, all the birds start to fly off and they get shot down. So we went out there and we're shooing all these birds away. And at sunrise, no hunters turned up. There was no one there. And this man, who was one of the forerunners of organizing, he was so angry that there was no one there. Like, he wanted to fight. And it's like, dude, you've missed the point. Like, there's no one here. The birds are safe. You just want to be angry at someone. And this is how we often use anger in our life. That, we're looking for a fight because we want to feel powerful. But that's not true power. Anger is not true power. And if we're feeling angry a lot in our lives, it's not because we have all these people, blaming them that they're doing all this stuff that's wrong to us. It's a waste of our energy. If we can set effective boundaries, if we can love ourselves enough to ensure that every day we're plugged into the source of who we are, we're fueling our bodies, our minds, and ourselves to be powerful like diamonds, so that when somebody goes to cross our boundaries, we can be very clear. Until we get to a stage where people don't bother crossing our boundaries because our energy just emanates this love. So people don't even bother to try and disrespect us in any way because we hold this energy and this frequency of love. That is when our missions are really powerful. That is when our career success or whatever success that we're wanting to create in our life, whether it be business or within our health or within our relationships, we need to be led by love. Love is the most powerful force in the universe. And the way to master our anger is to understand that anger is just a messenger. We don't want to shoot the messenger, and we don't want to fire anger out into the world because we're being a bigger problem than often what it is that we're fighting. If we're stuck in these angry cycles, if you've been angry a lot, then it's a sign that you need to take back your power. You need to plug back into source. You need to release a lot of the anger that you may have been holding on to from your childhood and take your power back. I had some abuse in my childhood and I wondered, these lines, these intensity lines on my eyes, they're not purely because I'm an intense focused being. That a lot of the anger that is often on my face or it is being etched into my face because it's only something that, I've slowly pegged back over my life. And it's only probably in the last year that I've had lots of big realizations around anger, that it's slowly bringing a softness to my face because I'm leading with so much more love and not holding this anger and resentment in my body and trying to fuel my missions from feeling angry. So if you would love to find out more about how to plug in to source, how to really own your power on all levels of your life, so powering your physical body, using your mind powerfully, how to be open and free with your emotions so that they can flow out in a safe and really effective way, and how to plug into the source of who we are and operate, fuel our missions, drive our days from love instead of anger, then the diamond code is a really powerful way to finally clear out those patterns that keep anger fueling our missions and holding back mostly the fulfillment, because angry people can sometimes get out there and find success, but they're not happy. They don't have the fulfillment that comes with it. We can't. If we're filled with anger that hasn't been faced and hasn't been resolved within our own being, we can't have the kind of fulfillment that we desire. So I'm just going to finish off now with a meditation that will guide you to stand more fully in your power and to use any anger, grumpiness, frustration in your being, to use it as a messenger to replug back into your anger. So for those of you that are listening to this while you're driving or walking, keep your eyes open and just do it as you continue to concentrate on what you're doing. Those watching on a video and listening while you're sitting down, close down your eyes and focus your attention away from the outside world, focusing on your inner being. Just scanning your inner being as you take a breath down into your belly. So breathing down deep into your body and embodying this moment, being fully present with this moment here and now. And just noticing any areas of tension, any areas of fire, anger, or frustration that may be building in your body. Because often anger is built up over time and it comes out explodes like a volcano because we've been sitting on it. We've been putting a lid on it. But we want to welcome that anger and that fire up to be heard. So just really being honest with yourself and present and aware with yourself. How much anger are you feeling in your body in this moment? Continuing to breathe down into your body. And just really noticing where in your body that you feel anger. Breathing into that space. And just asking yourself, where have I not set a boundary? Where do I feel powerless in my life that this anger is being a messenger of? Where do I need to own my power in my life? And just trust what comes. Just really acknowledging what's been pissing you off lately. What's been making you feel really angry? And what's a boundary that you need to set? Where do you need to speak your truth? Who do you need to let know what it is that you need? And what kind of behavior is not okay? And setting a boundary on that. A boundary that you stick to. And that you remove yourself from a situation when somebody oversteps that boundary. And just making a commitment to yourself to follow through with any insights that you've had of any of those boundaries that you need to set. That the anger within you has been a messenger for. So we bless that anger. Thank you for being a messenger. That I felt powerless and that I've needed to set a boundary. Thank you, anger. You can reside now. And just filling up your being now with love. So just imagining like sunlight above your head, dripping down through the top of your head, through your neck, your throat, through your chest, down your arms, down your torso, down into the base of your spine, down your legs, and out your feet. Just really drawing in love, drawing in compassion, drawing in sunlight, so that when you speak your truth to the person you need to speak to, so that when you set your boundaries, you are plugged into source, you're plugged into love, and you'll speak your truth with love, with wisdom, with honesty, with courage. But it comes from a heart space rather than an angry space. So continuing to breathe down into your belly as you fill up your being with love. And you know that anger is simply a messenger that we need to anchor deeper into our power. We need to set boundaries. We need to speak our truth with love. So as you fill up your being with love, opening those that have had your eyes closed, opening your eyes and looking out at the world with eyes of love. Thank you, anger, for showing me where I needed to replug back into my power. And now move forward with your day, emanating more love into this world. And when you feel grumpy, when you feel frustrated, you feel angry, then remember that those emotions of anger are simply messengers and reminders that you need to replug back into the source of who you are, set boundaries, and speak your truth. If you'd love to dive deep into finding out more about what lies inside of you, what needs to be cleared, and really owning your power so that it can catapult you to the success and the fulfillment that you desire, then the Diamond Code training is for you. You can visit CourtneyProsser.com for more details on the Diamond Code. So lots of love, and look out for that anger. She's a messenger. He's a messenger. Lead with love. Okay, take care. Bye-bye. Thanks for listening to this week's podcast. If you liked it, please click the like button and share it with others who you know are ready to shine bright in their life. Subscribe to the podcast channel so that you can see when new episodes are released. And if you're ready to dive deep and undertake the Diamond Code training, visit my website at CourtneyProsser.com. And remember, stand strong, shine bright, and I'll see you on the next episode of the Diamond Code podcast.